Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Rockingham. Here you are on the feed again. It's May the 12th. I'm Mike. This is Marty. We're here today. We have a couple of guests. We're going to talk about some an event that's happening in Brattleboro in a little bit. We have Susie Walker and Jedediah Pop with us today. Marty, any local events or?
I didn't actually look up local events today because I think that Jedediah and Susie are going to have a lot of information for us. So I think that that was my kind of like way of saying I was lazy this week.
But let's go ahead with our guests. We'll start with Susie Walker. Susie, you want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure, thank you. My name is Susie Walker, and I'm the director of the Turning Point of Windham County Recovery Center in Brattleboro, Vermont. And we're a peer recovery center where people with lived experience with substance use and recovery share their experience with others to help promote wellness and to create awareness in the community.
Oh, and Jedediah, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I would love to. Thank you very much, Mike and Marty, for having us on today. My name's Jedediah. I'm a person who lives with substance use. And for me, that's looks like being in recovery. I am a co-director for the Windham County Consortium on Substance Use. And I've also been involved with the Turning Point for quite a while now, kind of how I was able to find my path into recovery. And I love creating awareness around substance use and recovery. And have organized the A Beautiful Journey storytelling event, as well as the Run for Recovery 5K.
Oh, okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? Is Beautiful Journey. And I guess maybe, do we want to go to the clip first, or do we want to?
Let's go to the clip. Well, because we have the clip that you sent us of J.R. Lane talking about his experience with the Beautiful Journey. So
Yeah,
that'll kind of
okay.
I think that'll introduce things well for people.
Okay, let's go to clip.
My name is J.R. Lane. I'm a recovery coach for Turning Point of Springfield. You know, I got out of jail probably about 9 months prior to the Beautiful Journey, to the first one. I was still resonating with anger. I had left a trail of destruction. I think at that time I was trying to digest all of that. And that process is a raw process. It's raw, man. It pretty much splays your emotional body open and just exposes it to the world. And I was carrying a lot of anger and a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. But A Beautiful Journey started me on a road where I was able to develop some self-respect and self-love. And now today I can embrace, positive affirmations from people. And I can believe what they say to be true. You know, this is the arrogance of a person like myself in early recovery. I was like, what do I need a coach for? It's my story. I don't need a coach. She was persistent and patient, as I said. And she would call me and she would coerce me into meeting with her when I didn't want to. I was forced to befriend this woman in a way that I didn't want at first, you know? She's an upper middle class woman, white woman, from a very rural community. She's a professional. Her name is Susan Avery. She was assigned to be my coach, and I was resistant to it. But she fortunately had so much patience with me. She treated me almost as if I was her son. That's how gentle she was and loving she was. And to this day, we're friends. And as it turns out, she's a woman of immense love and grace. I have nothing but respect for her. And she taught me that I'm valuable. She taught me that what I have to say makes a difference. And she allowed me to be true to myself and tell my story however way it came out. What I found was, after I got up and told this story, my story, to an audience of maybe, I don't know, 75, 100 people, something like that, it was so cathartic. It was the beginning of change for me. Probably the most significant step that I took in my early recovery. And, you know, that allowed me to just really look into myself, look within myself, and find the truth of my story. People respect the honesty, and they empathize with that. And I was pretty raw when I told my story. Very unfiltered. I had never done anything like that before. Yeah, at least not sober. But I did what Sue told me to do, and be true to myself and get up there and tell my story, and that's what I did. You know, we have kept in touch, and I do consider her my friend, absolutely. I sincerely hope that she will be my friend till my dying day. And we're due for a conversation and a lunch. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I miss her.
So that's a pretty powerful promotion for A Beautiful Journey. How did you come up with the idea, Jedediah?
I was down in Atlanta for the RX Summit. The National RX Summit in Prescription Drug Abuse. Heroin is in there somewhere. It's a very long name, it's a week-long summit where there's many different workshops, many different presenters, very heavy on politicians, and I was getting a little bit discouraged. And at the workshops I went to, there were a few that were really meaningful to me, but the last one I went to on that Friday before we left was this person who identified as a person with lived experience with substance use, talking about, he talked about a lot, but what I took away from that is kind of looking at my role in the community and the power that I had, and what could I do to help, to help people's stories get out into the community. And I really felt like we have, at that point, I kind of was raised in recovery in those very, very early years through the 12-step world. And I saw a lot of great stories, but they never left the rooms. And I thought about that, and then I looked at my own experiences in my own journey with substance use, and looked at other people's and saw that it really, like, there's a lot of there's a lot of it that just is, it's not pretty, but the beautiful thing is that people learn how to cope with it. They first learn how to survive, hopefully, and then learning how to cope with it once they make that decision to make that shift into recovery. That process is very beautiful, even though, like, beauty isn't all just flowers and rainbows and blue skies. I mean, beauty to me is what's real and what's genuine. And so I felt like we needed to get the stories out into the community, and we needed to raise awareness on what people actually have to go through to find their path into recovery, and just realizing that it's not pretty, but and there's a lot of trauma involved, but how a community can respond to somebody, and how that person can make changes in their life, I feel is very, very beautiful. So that's where the idea originally came from.
And then so you're doing an event, and we need to bring that out pretty quick. And it's in this May, right? You're on the I forgot the date.
May 26th.
The 26th. It'll be at the Latches Theater in Brattleboro. And describe the event to me. I don't quite understand what's going to happen.
So at the event, I think what's important to note is, like expecting somebody. The point is to get folks who haven't shared their story yet, because there's a lot of people who are connected with the peer community, with the recovery community in general, that just haven't shared their story yet. So we wanted to be intentional about providing the space and the opportunity for people who are new to this. So the journey in this event started months ago for them, and they got connected with a coach, and that coach is there just for support. The goal is not the coach to tell a person how to do something. It's really about building a relationship and offering support to somebody. So the event will have this year, because of COVID, we filmed Reggie, who is our awesome filmmaker for the event, and that has done so much work, and through the editing of the recordings. He's just awesome. He's filmed the storytellers with their stories. So we're gonna have a live event, and last year, or in 2019, we had, I think, over 125 people. This year, because of space and social distancing, it's going to be a little bit less. I think we capped it off at 75, but we'll have an introduction. Once folks get settled in their seats, we'll have an introduction. We'll go to the films of each individual storyteller, which we have 5 this year. We have Matt, Abby, Vala, Donnelly, and Bonnie. And then after we show the films, we're going to have a Q&A after with the storytellers. And if we had to originally postpone the event because of COVID. But if that does play a factor, at this event, we're just going to live stream it. But people have the option, if people feel safe, they can come sign up for the event to come in person, or we will also be live streaming the event. And if there's any kind of an emergency with COVID again, we will fully go to live streaming the event.
Nice. And how do people sign up? Do they go to the Turning Point website?
So we'll have the link on Turning Point website, and we'll also have the link on our outreach material on our and the articles and on the poster, and people just click on that. I believe the link brings them to the website. So I think if you go to the website, it'll be right there on the website to click. But the link will bring you to the website, and then you click the event. And Reggie is the master at this. So I was born in 1979. My technology skills are not that good, so he can explain it.
We can sympathize.
And then, so you're going to have the live event, and then there's also a run coming up. Is that this summer, or how does that work? Sorry.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Susie can talk more about the events that happen in September and Recovery Month. But yeah, we intentionally in 2019, I think this will be the 4th year for the run. But yeah, both events we try to have in September for Recovery Month. Because of COVID, we couldn't with the Beautiful Journey last year, but we'll have the race again in September, and yeah, we're in the beginning stages of getting that going again, and it's just been so much fun. Like the Beautiful Journey committee and Susie, I can't thank them enough, and even the 5K committee. I mean, the people who put these events together are just awesome. And it's really because of them why these events can happen. Like, I'm here today. I wish other people could be here, but I am just such a small piece of why these events are actually taking place. But yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit more, if that's okay, about the other events that happen for Recovery Month?
Sure, glad to. Recovery Month is National Recovery Month is every year in September. And so what we usually do at the center is we honor some of our partners, and we honor our volunteer team. The board comes in, for instance, and does an appreciation lunch for the staff and volunteers who make everything happen here at the center every day. We also honor our partners that we've worked a lot with, the police department and first responders. We have coaches who work at the emergency department. We do a lot of outreach in the community. And related to this event, I would say that storytelling is a huge part of how we connect with our partners, and then how they better know what our work entails. And they understand the people in the community who have substance use disorder, and they learn from us that recovery is possible, and here's what it looks like, because they often see people at their worst moment and they don't ever get to know that there maybe was a happy ending. And so over the years, that's been our journey at Turning Point, is that we've been able to, through our stories, get to know people human to human, that this police officer can get to know that this recovery coach used to have a very complicated life, and through whatever program of recovery they've adopted, their relationship with substance use is very different now, and they can be, they can be happy and well, they can be part of the community, they can have healthy relationships with their family and their workplace and friends. And so storytelling is very just imbued with so much of what we do. So a lot of what we do during Recovery Month is to share trainings and events, and shine a light on the hope of recovery, because hope is such a huge part of the message. So events like A Beautiful Journey, they show, the gritty authenticity of what happens before recovery, and how people sometimes have maybe a bumpy journey in recovery, but it's earnest and true, and it's that hope that drives us forward, and that we get to see people blossom and grow. So we do that through the Beautiful Journey events, certainly. And we also do it through the 5K Run for Recovery, where it's a beautiful event. This will be the 4th year. And people come out and help in different ways, and bring kids in strollers, and families run together. It's just beautiful to know that we can, individually, people in recovery can heal, families can heal, and our community at large can heal when we understand each other more as fellow human beings on this journey together, and that we can look past some of the negativity that tends to come with substance use disorder problems, because it is a very painful process, and it has a lot of complicating behaviors around it. So if we can show people that there's hope for a different way, That's what we try to do through these events and through what we do at the center every day.
I think I applaud you guys for doing that. I think storytelling is powerful. And I think, to go back to something Jedediah said, storytelling has always been part of the 12-step program, you know, getting up and telling your story, but never to the general public. So I think this is a way to humanize substance use disorder to people that maybe just don't understand it. So if they can hear the stories that are being, you know, they're being told on a regular level in meetings, but are now, you know, then it puts a different light on it. It's like, you know, it's your neighbor, it's your person, it's the person, because I think people have a kind of a
It's
set.
the others, yeah.
Yeah, it's somebody else. It's you have this stereotype, right? So when you actually hear somebody's story, and you're like, oh, that could have been me, but for a different choice, that could have been me. And I think it's very, very powerful. I 100% agree.
So at the Latches on the 26th, are people going? Who do you anticipate will be in the audience? Will there be people in recovery in the audience, or will it be the general public in the audience, or a combination of the two? And then, if people in recovery in the audience, will they have chances to tell their stories to some extent, or not? It's not meant to be that.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jedediah.
I think it's, this was intentional about creating bridges where there once were gaps. We want the storytellers to feel supported. First we open up the registration to their friends and family, to Turning Point volunteers, to Turning Point board members. And then I think it's really important, at the first year's event, we had many providers in the community, which was just awesome to see. And also realizing that we want people to hear these stories that have never heard these stories before. And as providers and people and volunteers at the Turning Point, people with lived experience with substance use, we know these stories. And so it's really important to have people there that just are not familiar with these stories, so that there's that educational component and create an awareness. And like you were saying, Marty, like just put in a face to it. I've learned through the past 9 years that when I've been able to share pieces of my story, it creates this element in the relationship where empathy and understanding can be initiated. And that's what we need. That's what people need. That's what people need that are currently actively using. That's what people need in recovery. That's what we need as a community for a lot of the things that we're going through in society nowadays. And this is just like in our area, in the Turning Points area of recovery, this is one way of how we can do it. And we hope that through these events, we can attract other folks in recovery who want to tell their story and who want to be part of these events. And we always encourage people to reach out to us directly. Olivia, who works at the Turning Point, Windham County, is so awesome. She does a lot of the work for these events. And she usually handles the requests and the outreach. So I always tell folks, just give Olivia a call at the Turning Point.
Do you have her number? We're just about out of time. That's why. So I want to make sure we get the Turning Point number out and its location and how people can contact you to either get in touch for this event or to make good contact with Turning Point just in general. So,
Who wants
Susie?
to field? Susie?
Sure. Turning Point of Windham County is at the corner of Flat and Elm Streets. 39 Elm Street is the address, is the big yellow house on the corner with big pretty gardens. You can find us at our website, Turning Point WC for Windham County, turningpointwc.org. And you can call us at 802-257-5600. And we can help you. And I would say really quickly that storytelling is part of what we do in our work all the time. So between the annual events, our hope is to build a storyboard of people who have lived experience who can then be part of doing our work to tell our stories when we speak to community groups, when we speak to first responders, when we speak to schools. So there are plenty of opportunities for storytelling if you want to learn more about that.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think that's all the time that we have. So thank you both for coming on. We we hope that at some point you'd come back and update us on things that are going on, and maybe we can help you with those stories. Get those stories out.
Yeah,
All right.
I like that.
So, thank you, Susie and
Thank you,
Jedediah.
Susie and
Thank you.
Jedediah. Bye,
that's it.
community.
We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Local news,
right.
politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty.